Hello, folks, and welcome back. We are ready to head into our final match of the night and of the semester as well. University of Hawaii versus Fairfield University. Dryad, let's hear your thoughts.
Well, one more match that we're going to be seeing today, and the teams, well, they look pretty even. 1-6 for both of them, so not the best results that they've gotten throughout the season. But we know the University of Hawaii has made a couple of changes. I know that Fairfield has also been working on improving a little bit more, so we're gonna be seeing the real improvement here. It's the same scores, it should be a pretty even match.
Yeah, absolutely. I do kind of tend to give the edge a little bit to Hawaii here. We saw them come out about 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago with a really good looking composition, a really good looking team that just absolutely seemed to run the course. And then the week after that, they kind of petered out a little bit, but I'm hoping that we still see those improvements, those players who are so impactful. I'm hoping we see them make a return for this final game. Only time will tell as we do look ahead. And speaking of looking ahead, go ahead and give you folks who haven't been here for the first 3 games a quick rundown of the maps that we will be seeing here. It's going to start off on Ilios, then moving to Blizzard World Volskaya, and if necessary, Dorado and Lijiang.
So we're gonna see how many maps we're gonna be seeing today, but we already know that the first one is going to be Ilios. We've seen a lot of variety on the first two matches that we got to cast when it comes to the compositions and especially the DPS. I mean, we saw a bunch of highlights from Reapers, we saw really good EMPs, we saw really good Tracers, even a Bastion at some point in this map. But this time around, maybe a couple of changes, even with the Symmetra being brought in.
And the Symmetra being brought in not just for the quick teleport. Brick Rick going to actually be sticking hard onto this. We'll see if it pays off for the side of Fairfield. Already we can see Rollpew paying dividends for their team. Getting the kill onto the Cassidy. Walk not going to be in this fight for too long, but Brick Rick going to be able to tear down this Winston bubble and immediately get a lot of damage put into that tank player themselves. Lemon Shark on this Genji has a lot of catching up to reach the ultimates most of the other players have achieved, Walk notwithstanding. Now, as we look here, Fairfield so far taking a dominant position on the point, going to be getting first cap as well, and looks like the University of Hawaii just weren't prepared for that sim.
Pretty interesting matchup that we have with the off tanks as well. Zarya and the D.Va facing each other, knowing that they can almost counter each other in different abilities that they have. But again, like you said, yeah, it is going to be the point going for the side of Fairfield, forcing everyone from the University of Hawaii to back half, play a little bit more passive, as Barrage is going to be available for them already.
Rollpew going to be looking for those openings. No D.Va to really eat a lot of that damage, but still has to keep eyes out for Walk. Logo having that grab online. Will they choose to use it this fight? They are backing up with the rest of their team. The Reinhardt going down, it doesn't seem like they're going to invest it. Rocket Barrage does go through. Rollpew able to take down two. Just like that, University of Hawaii has a chance to cling back here. Good for Fairfield, however, that they were able to hold the grab.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be good as a point is going to switch to the other side. University of Hawaii will be taking control. The blade will be available with no nano, most likely with it, as it seems like for River is going to take some time to be able to build that ultimate again. So the blade most likely just to create some space into the backline as well. Maybe try to force the immortality, anything that can be beneficial for the team. Let's get to start with that one.
Oh, and perhaps a little bit too of a confident read there coming in from Brick Rick. Going to be leading their team right into a walloping, but doesn't seem to affect Fairfield too much. University of Hawaii still getting a few of their members taken down. It's going to be the Primal Rage coming out from Hoopa, just trying to cause some separation. In the meantime, Roku going to be taking advantage of that separation, taking two down with those direct impacts from the rocket. Zarya getting juggled a little bit as Roku continues to get another kill. Shot in the arm trying to come through here. Brick Rick not able to connect with a few shots from that heavy pulse rifle, and it will cost them in the terms of Rollpew still staying alive, still almost getting another Rocket Barrage online.
50% for University of Hawaii as the kills continue to go back and forth between the two teams. The Rez is going to also come in right away for the Pharah, who's back in line with the Barrage.
That Barrage comes through heavy, nails into two. It's going to be the Zarya eventually taking her down, but now it's just the tanks left standing for Fairfield, and you have that Reinhardt, you have that Zarya. They can't last too long before those, they can't make too many quick movements. No Lucio to bail them out. Fairfield now getting feasted upon, and that's gonna have to be a little bit longer for the regroup.
I want to see what Fairfield is going to be able to do. Vortex, especially as I'm looking at this player with the Shatter available. A lot of chances here, but Hookah has been holding on to the Primal Rage to be used just now.
Ray's trying to go with a very confident remake kill onto the Reinhardt, not able to find it. Roll Q almost getting taken down, but going to be exchanging for that Cassidy, staying outside of Brick Rick's line of sight. Brick Rick trying to dive in, get some sort of point contest. Not going to be finding it though. University of Hawaii back in full swing. River God missing a few shots onto that Genji, but it's okay. The Mercy Valve can keep everybody up.
I love to see the Primal Rage towards the end. It came in just in time and denied the possibility for Vortex to even have a chance using the Shatter. So it worked out perfectly for the setup Hawaii. And even then, though, a couple mistakes that we saw for both of the teams, kind of going back and forth until the last two fights where it defined a little bit more of the side of University of Hawaii and how aggressive they wanted to play. And maybe some changes. I'm still hesitant to see the Genji. I feel like we haven't seen much value from it yet. And I want to see for how long they want to continue forcing this hero.
As we continue to look ahead, we go up towards well, see exactly how these teams are going to be opting into this fight. We see Fairfield not going out with the Sim, just using it for a quick teleport, and instead it's going to be Brick Rick onto that Soldier, Walk as well onto Cassie. Going to be putting a lot of pressure onto Rolq, who we saw getting quite a bit of value early on. Logo actually getting slept and knocked into the pit by Raze. Some excellent coordination, planned or otherwise, coming in from U Hawaii. As now we see Pupahoa trying to just play around these corners, not take too much damage. They know there's a little bit of advantage not having that Roadhog on the opposing side, and in the meantime, Rolf can cut the other angle, just fire rockets in.
Yeah, the hook almost connecting there. Barely able to stay alive instead of Rolq, who's putting so much pressure, has been the opener for a lot of the fights and a lot of the damage that the team needs to be able to clean up those fights, and forcing everyone from the set of Fairfield to back up, to bring it to play a little bit more passive and waiting for the next one as they try and rely so much on the shield from the Sigma that is already getting melted.
Yeah, the difficult thing about Vortex's shield is she can't guard the air and the ground at the same time, or even alternate. Lemon Shark now going in with the Nano Blade, trying to find something, however, getting jostled around just a bit too much, able to eventually clean up Rick, but that's going to be about it. Two ultimates, still going to win the team fight for Hawaii, and that Genji's going to come back pretty quickly.
Will be passing more on more of that percentage for University of Hawaii that continue to stay on top. The Valkyrie and the Barrage, a beautiful combination that we can see coming in next. Well, every other ultimate continues to be ready, including that Primal Rage that last time worked out so well for this team.
If you're Raze, you had to be ready for that attack visor to come online. However, the tank's going to be covering the rest of University of Hawaii. As now Brick Rick gets taken down, the concussive blast knocks Logo into the pit once again. That Roadhog having such a bad time with it. It's going to be the Deadeye coming through from the Cassidy, not finding anything. Walk taken off the map.
The reset as well coming through, even for Race, who will be taking a little bit longer being ready for the team, but Fairfield is also going to take their time. Only has an amplification to work with, maybe the whole hog, but that's not really guaranteeing kills, just creating that space, and then the kills are the question.
You can already see Rolq taking a lot of space here up in the skies. River God saying, we don't have a DPS hit scan on our team, but we don't need one. They'll do the job themselves. Whole hog coming out, but it leaves Logo a little bit vulnerable and they get taken out because of it. Dynamite goes out, but Ash eventually cleaned up, and Mercy not even going to need to get the res up and online. University of Hawaii starting off strong on Ilios.
A good start that once again still continue to look back and forth on Ruins, and then it looked so much better on the second map when we got the chance to see it. So again, University of Hawaii, they changed a little bit of the team compared to what we saw towards the beginning of the season here in EGF. They brought new players, they brought new changes, new compositions that they were able to play, and it definitely paid off for them, at least on this first map, but there's still at least 2 more to go to guarantee their victory here.
Absolutely, but a great start. They weren't showing too much weakness against Fairfield, and Fairfield showing that they have at least a little bit of knowledge about the game, using those double hit scans to try to deal with Rolq. It just wasn't quite enough. I think you really need your tank support there in order to get that full benefit against the Pharah.
Absolutely, and even then, we've seen a lot of Pharah today, but it kind of disappears when we go into the second map. We already know that it's going to be Blizzard World, so it is what you can bring on a map like this one. I think it goes back to every single victory that we've seen so far today. On a map like that one, whoever is more flexible and more comfortable playing the double bubble, that is a team that ends up with a victory, really.
We'll see exactly how it pays off for both of these teams. Fairfield University already struggling a little bit. They do have the opportunity to catch up here as we head into Blizzard World. And Hawaii, so far, again, on that upswing, on that good progression that we've seen them at least a few weeks ago.
And this is something that I think last week I didn't really get the chance to see because the University of Hawaii took another loss, or maybe 2 weeks ago. But still, they've been looking like they have improved a lot with the new players that they have brought into the roster, and bringing new changes, new compositions again, that I feel like are so crucial in the current state of Overwatch. Every single map pretty much is going to play a composition that is completely different to the one that we just saw before. So in Ilios, we saw something, but we know Blizzard World is going to aim towards a different composition. Same thing is going to be with Volskaya. So it's a state where you cannot rely on a single hero that you play to work from beginning to end.
Absolutely, but if we're giving credit to Hawaii, it seems like based off the last map, they understand at least the win conditions that they're familiar with, that they're practiced with. We saw them trying to set up those nano blades very often. We saw them trying to continue to buy space for roll queue, continuing to just try to get as much advantage out of those DPS. And Pupahoa, Rays both doing an excellent job in making sure that the distraction was fully on them and not necessarily so much on those DPS.
A lot of questions here that I have for the set of Fairfield, and what are they going to be able to do on this defensive side as they're going to start here taking the high ground positioning. We know it's going to be a lot of poke just looking at the hand. So, and also even the Baptiste, also even the Ash, is all about even that one shot potential that you're able to get with the 2 DPS. They try to make a difference here for the set of Fairfield and delay the attacking side from pushing into point.
And immediately that high ground already going to be pressured. Roll Q landing a couple rockets, building up quite a bit of ult charge. You can see Wa continuing to just try to fire arrows, but without that high ground, it's going to be looking a little bit more difficult. Roll Q eating a little bit of the dynamite blast, but not too much to be bothered, especially with Newt in their pocket, just keeping them alive. Now as we look here, Brick Rick having to back up the entirety of Fairfield, as a matter of fact, already backed up onto point. That's going to be making them feel a little bit claustrophobic, especially as these tanks go for the high ground coming in from University of Hawaii. That coach gun just going to be buying more space for roll through. They might feel a little bit more comfortable with that. Walk trying to jump on. A little bit of damage, has to take a drop. Goes in, peaks it just a little bit too early. Race will be getting the demech, or will be getting demeched, I should say. It's going to be costing them a little bit in terms of having to go back to spawn. But so far, Fairfield swinging on point, having a decent time, holding at least for a little bit of clock burn.
The point that will be given in the meantime for the setup University of Hawaii as they continue creating that space, making sure that no one else is going to get close and they have no opportunity for the recontest. And it seems like for a second that is what Fairfield will try to do, but realize that there are not going to be even numbers as they jump into points. So with that, University of Hawaii will be taking that one, will be starting to mill that payload. And looking forward to using that barrage in a way that gets at least 1 or 2.
As we can see, Lemon Shark and River God also very close to their ultimates. This is one of those win conditions we talked about. And Pupahoa and Rays, it's not the double bubble we were talking about, but still a lot of easy access to that pylon that honestly Fairfield doesn't seem intent on taking at all. They're just going to be holding at this first major crook in that pylon phase. We see the dive coming in from the Winston. Roll Q looks like they might be setting up for a flank barrage. Going to be trying to go for it. Gets the Ash, gets the Zarya. Doesn't even need that rocket barrage early on. They activated anyway. Queth going to be taking the opportunity to take them down. Fairfield might have the potential for some recovery, especially with this Earth Shatter.
Oh yeah, 2 for 2 being used, and then the Shatter to try to guarantee a little bit more numbers on the side of Fairfield University, but the kills continue to come through. Is going to be the Primal Rage as well being used. That's one of the supports for the side of Fairfield University. And with that, that is all the ultimates. They pretty much use everything that they have for University of Hawaii, but they guarantee the fight.
And guaranteed the fight so far, unless anybody from Fairfield can make a last-minute touch. They will not opt into that. Walk going to be taking Newt as they leave the doors. Now, as we see here, Fairfield has to be on the back foot.
Anti-Nate as well is going to come in, guaranteeing that no one else is even going to contest this corner. That can be really difficult, especially for the attacking side. Saying goodbye as they lose the last member of Fairfield University. Everyone trying to regroup, and the DPS, even the tanks, are going to work towards creating as much space as possible into the last part of the map, but that can be very tricky. And because they use so many ultimates, they're going to rely on any space, any damage that they are able to get early on.
I think Fairfield a little bit reluctant to switch off these long-range characters. Walk, Brick, Rick, both playing those sniper classes, and doesn't really give you a lot of front-loaded damage. We see the self-destruct come in from Raze, trying to just buy some space, force back Fairfield, but it doesn't achieve too many kills. However, the pressure coming through onto Fairfield immense, and the cart continues to move.
There's so much time remaining as well. 4 minutes 10 to work with. Everyone from University of Hawaii will be pushing into the spawn, denying anyone else to get close to the payload as it approaches the third checkpoint. With so much time, it was really impressive what we saw from the University of Hawaii, especially in that second and third part.
It really was. University of Hawaii were not looking like they were intent on being stopped at all. Fairfield has their work cut out for them. Their opponents 4 minutes plus on the time bank.
Fairfield University needs a little bit more control. It seems like a little bit more synergy more than anything, but the way that they interact with each other and with each other's ultimates, it seems like out of desperation and even more reaction more than anything else, we see them using those ultimates rather than to initiate the fight. So that is why, for example, we see Vortex, who use that shatter into the second part of the map in a way that he was reacting more than anything else to the enemy rather than waiting, making sure that everyone else behind him was safe. That cost them the fight, that cost them the second part of the map as well. So it is all about working together, even making sure in any sort of communication they're able to use with your team, letting them know when you're going to use those abilities even.
Again, University of Hawaii just allowing things to be opened up for their DPS. Fairfield relying more so on their DPS than the rest of their team to try to mitigate that Pharah, and Roku just having the time of their life for it as we continue to see Roku firing some rockets and fishing for what they might be able to get. A little bit of damage, about a quarter of the way to the rocket barrage. That's a resource that Fairfield have to keep eyes on, particularly Logo. Going to be largely responsible for making sure that that's no longer a factor into this fight. We see immediately Raze getting burned down on that D.Va, just staying within the eyes of Cassidy for a little bit too long. Brick Rick finding some immediate value there, but the question is, will Fairfield continue to be able to ferry through with this benefit? We see the soldier coming through, Walk trying to just keep heads up towards that Pharah. So far, going to be having a tough time with it, especially with that Mercy keeping her alive, and we can see Walk focusing the Pharah a lot more than we see him focusing the Mercy.
And the 2 kills as well that this Winston is able to get is going to guarantee the kill. A lot of space that the side of Fairfield was trying to create, almost getting to the 33%. The University of Hawaii always being so good at reacting, jumping into point and denying that possibility. Also, while they build so many ultimates, we already see a difference there. I mean, River is going to be having the nano, while on the other side of Fairfield, there's only 50-60% going on for this Ana.
It'll be very tough for Gil to catch up, and Fairfield needs to try to make something happen. It looks like Brick Rick might be going for that Deadeye. Just try to catch the team off an angle. Has to be careful of that Genji deflect, though. They see it go out. Will be taking down 2 with it. This could be Fairfield's opportunity for a big push. The self-destruct going in as well, clearing the point, but wasn't really a whole lot to go in with that D.Va self-destruct. Hoopa going to be dropping right in onto the amplification matrix, and Roll Q able to take down 2 if you count themselves. Hoopa still has this primal rage, going to be activating it right onto the heads of the DPS, and this is certainly going to come close to buying a lot of time. That Cassidy goes off the map, no roll to save them when you're not planted firmly on the ground. Lemon Shark coming in with the boost, with the blade as well, giving a huge opportunity. University of Hawaii had a real crucial moment there that they were able to come back from.
The Deadeye came in from the Cassidy, got two, and then Fairfield still doesn't capitalize out of it. That has to be so frustrating for this team. They had everything. They got a little bit closer to the point to initiate, but then there was the Nano, then there was the Primal Rage, and then all the possibilities got denied for this team who had the numbers advantage for a second, but they took too long to react. They don't have a Lucio again. They don't have any sort of speed to jump right into point and put the pressure that they needed to for the four members remaining.
Start counting the clock because Quef used that immortality field very early into this. It's not going to be up for another 30 seconds. Fairfield are going to really be regretting that perhaps as that rocket barrage comes through. Brickrick able to take down both the farm received members. As now we see here, Logan Apoyo able to get a second kill, but still might not seem like enough. University of Hawaii has a ton of point presence, especially with the self-destruct going through. Going to be able to get one from the side of University of Hawaii. Fairfield not getting as much.
45.6%. That is all that Fairfield has in so much time where right now there's only 30 seconds remaining. They've wasted so much time. They have a shatter to work with. They have an amplification to work with, potentially with that combination and even the fire streak being combined with it. But that is if University of Hawaii doesn't deny that immediately, even with the blade that we see coming in.
Lemon Shark has a huge opportunity to make a play here. They see the Ana. They're going to be not going for it. They just dash in, try to get the kill, and now pull out the blade without the sleep, having any opportunity to cause them any sort of grief. It's going to be the immortality field. They go for it. Don't really find anything else outside of that, but they don't need to. It looks like Fairfield are crumbling at their knees. As we can see, overtime going to slowly start to burn down. Second tick not yet achieved. Fairfield are going to be stopping it here on Blizzard World, meaning that U of H goes up 2-0.
And another match point that we see today. There's at least one more to go, but University of Hawaii is looking so strong that it's so scary to even think about what they're able to do every single time. Even in the potential last map that is going to be Volskaya, the compositions that they have been playing have been enabling them for success more than anything else. And when they go on the defensive side, when they go on the attacking side, they know exactly how to take the numbers advantage, use those ultimates properly, and rotate them more than anything else.
Absolutely agree. And before I lose my memory on this Drad, can we talk about that play of the game? It was just, I think it was just a Hanzo getting one kill onto the Mercy, onto the Pharah, something like that, and then almost getting a kill onto the Hanzo.
It was a sharpshooter, right? So
I
that's
mean,
why. I don't know. We don't talk about it. It's okay.
I'll talk about it all day. I will criticize that replay system. Of course, not from our producer's end. Our producer, fantastic, many shout outs. But either way, Fairfield at least coming back with some sort of morale boost, maybe from that play of the game. They're also going to be going into a little bit of a break. We will be going into a little bit of a break, so they'll have time to recollect themselves. That being said, folks, make sure you stick around. We'll be right back. You know what time it is, folks. It is match point time. University of Hawaii up 2-0 against Fairfield. And so far from University of Hawaii, we are not seeing too many change-ups in their compositions, Dryad.
Nope, many changes here on the side of the defense. At least Vortex still playing that Reinhardt. Seems like he really likes to play that hero. And if it works out, I mean, then I'm all in for it. I don't think this is also a bad pick here in Volskaya. We've seen a lot of variety. We've seen a lot of double shield as well. But I think the Reinhardt, more than anything, your win condition is playing that rush properly, right? So playing really close to the choke point, denying University of Hawaii from going in. So as long as they do that, then they have all the win conditions here.
Two issues I see. Fairfield has no Lucio to give them that little speed oomph, and University of Hawaii still running roll Q on that Pharah, meaning that Vortex can only focus so much on one angle of defense. We can already see the impact of that, and Rick getting taken down. Fairfield, however, not quite out of this. They do get the D-Mech onto Raze, but that Diva might be able to last long enough to get back into this fight in full mech form. It's going to be Hoopa taking down the Reinhardt. Again, no protection coming in from Fairfield. Gil eventually taken down by Lemon Shark after they clean up Walk, and that's going to be a very rapid first point take, it seems.
University of Hawaii, in the meantime, looking pretty comfortable in a fight that only lasted about a minute. Everyone looking forward to even going to the second. The ultimates are not ready yet, but will be ready soon. And I'm especially looking at that barrage that has been a highlight more than anything from the set of Roku. Able to create a lot of space and also even getting a couple kills. I say that, and of course, he does get taken down, but at least they get a reset.
True, Rick gonna be getting a nice kill onto both members of the pharmacy combination. Once again, Roku gonna have to be coming back in, and it doesn't look like Fairfield's gonna press their luck. They're just gonna hold here, not get too aggressive, except for Rick.
Backing up, waiting for the Pharah, and nope, they gotta wait more. Just a little bit more, because definitely having some difficulties. The rest, well, at least is going to be coming in. But definitely spawning and looking for this Pharah pretty often.
Wef trying to predict where that Winston would land. However, Winston dropping the bubble at the perfect moment. It's going to be the Nano Genji trying to come through, but the self-destruct takes them down. University of Hawaii might start trickling away here, especially with that D-Mech coming through. Gil now out of the fight, but with that Pharah still up in the sky, a Reaper wouldn't do you too much good in that fight either way.
I don't think 3 ultimates were necessary for Fairfield. It just didn't seem like it was necessary. They took down the Winston first, and that was all that they needed, right? There's no main tank coming in for University of Hawaii. They're most likely to play passive and wait for him, but Fairfield used the Deadeye, used the Nano, and even used the self-destruct that we saw as well. So it didn't seem to be necessary. Going to be poking a lot of damage again to try to build those ultimates.
I'm gonna call that fight win confidence coming through. They're just a little bit too happy on the trigger there, but it's gonna be the Primal Rage coming out from Hoopa, blocking out a lot of the damage that, or a lot of the lines of sights that would be coming in from Fairfield. Rocket Barrage gets one, Rick taken down. No longer able to deal that damage themselves. It's gonna be the Reaper caught and reload. Roku happy to take advantage of that, get the kills coming online, and Hawaii struggling to get this point made past that first tick. There are so many stragglers from the side of Fairfield. Rick taking down 1 more, 2 more, 3 more off the back end of that excellent performance. Can't quite catch Lemon Shark though. The Nano comes out. Lemon not able to get that Nano Blade. The potential kill onto Gil, but has that Wraith Form to buy just a little bit more time for their team.
Oh, and the Blade is also going to come in, denying any other possibility. 2 tanks to take down, and the Genji will be taking care of that. The self-destruct as well. Anything to stay on the point for a little bit longer if you are on the side of Fairfield University. And only 1 tick that was given, now make it 2.
And that Mercy allowed to get the res. Nobody really wants to go in and enforce the prevention of that Gil. Eventually taken down. The charge trying to come through from Vortex doesn't quite connect. It does connect, actually. Take that back onto Nuke. Immortality Field taken down. Hoopa, Race, both dangerously low. However, River got able to just get so much value just playing in the distance. Eventually, that Pharah does get taken down. Can't adjust those sights fast enough. And it looks like Hawaii may have to call it quits here.
It's gotta be frustrating too. They almost got everything. 97.8. The kills are going
Oh
to try to
no!
continue going. With the Nano going to the Genji as well. Does he have the blade yet? But might be enough to get a little bit more. Waiting for the rest of the team to come back.
That was bold and optimistic both at the same time. Now as we look here,
It
Fairfield
worked.
gonna be suffering for it. That was a good push, a good call from Hawaii, not letting up off the gas.
Yeah, it worked. It's pretty much only the Genji on point. Needed a little bit more of the damage to come in, and there it is, the Ana ready with the Nano to make it work perfectly. And as the rest of the team of University of Hawaii was coming back, they were so close that it was risky. Like you said, it was very optimistic, but they were able to get away with it, and this is something that not a lot of teams can do.
That was, I'm gonna be sincere here, and I hope it doesn't come off the wrong way. That was so unfortunate for Fairfield. That was such a lost moment. You managed to send 4 members from Hawaii back to spawn, and it's just the Genji, I think, and the Ana, and you still can't push them off when you have 3 people on point just trying to push that Genji. So difficult, so brutal.
Yeah, the spawn advantage is always. I mean, it can usually be really good to come back, but this time around, for the side of Fairfield University, they just needed a little bit more. They wasted so many ultimates early on. They had nothing else to work with. They had invested everything else. So, wasted opportunity, but at least looking forward to what they can do on the attacking side. With already a pretty interesting composition, this Diva is going to try to poke a little bit of damage, trying to scout as she goes back as well. With the rest of the team knowing that there's going to be a Roadhog, and there's also going to be a Vortex on the Sigma, which we haven't seen much of.
I'm not seeing a lot of Sigma overall, but RollQ still able to fire in a couple shots and even get the kill onto Gil. Excellent opening there. Both the tanks from Hawaii dangerously low. However, Ray's eventually getting demech'd. See Fairfield getting a couple of kills in their pockets, but the question is, can they do anything about RollQ, who just seems to be continuing to get this purchase for free? Logo eventually going to be taking a breather, healing themselves back up, and Hawaii still not up to full measure here. Logo able to finally fish that far out of the sky. Rays, however, in the meantime, has had enough time to get the remech back online, and Fairfield, whatever advantage they had, it seems to have been lost. I say that, Logo getting a hook as the Diva goes to sleep, meaning the Mercy can die for basically free. That Diva, however, can't necessarily be found in the grave just yet. Logo just going to be committing to the melee. And so far, Fairfield not looking out of this first point just yet. That whole hog going to be locking everybody in the small room, including that Primal Winston.
Oh, another lot to work with, but the Primal Reach Winston still ready for the fight. The hook is going to connect into Lemon Shark, getting taken down. And with that, the point might be going actually for the side of Fairfield University. That is, if this last couple kills don't really work out.
We've known never to count out Hawaii. However, 3 kills coming in just like that, 1 onto each member of each role. And Logo just trying to lone Shark this point. Not going to work out for them. Ray's eventually able to burn them down with Hoopa's help.
University of Hawaii in the meantime. There it is, playing pretty aggressive, especially with the Pharah, but there it is, the Mercy, always there to get the healing done exactly when the Pharah needs to, when RollQ needs to, guaranteeing even more kills for the Soldier. Getting taken down, going to wait for the reset, has Visor as well to use at any point now, which is something that the enemy Soldier doesn't really have, so any advantage that you take, even though they seem small, can be the opening that Fairfield has been waiting for, but they can't find anything.
You certainly cannot. Just when you think you might be safe underneath an awning, RollQ just drops down right in your face and delivers a couple rockets, hands pressed. And just like that, you're suddenly at a disadvantage.
130 to work with in the meantime. Fairfield University only 49.5%. That was hard. A lot of numbers there. They were able to get, but the kills, look at that. The opening picks are always going for the side of University of Hawaii.
Be the attack visor coming out from Brick Rick, trying to find anything, but everybody's able to take cover, hide behind their tanks, or use that shielding. So for that, Brick Rick not going to be finding anything. The Nano going on to Hoopa, gets stunned out. Immediately that sound barrier comes through, but Hoopa has the primal rage, keeping themselves in the fight and juggling Quef into the corner. It's going to be a rough continuation of this fight for Fairfield, and now only have about one more left in pocket.
Everyone playing on point, exactly like you would expect from this defensive team of University of Hawaii. Has the Valkyrie to use for this last fight. As the time runs out, the kills continue to come out one by one. And even the ultimates don't seem to be connecting that way that you would dream if you're on the side of Fairfield.
That is a rough late loss for Fairfield. Rick getting taken out of the fight. Gil going to be making a very late switch onto the Ashe, perhaps just trying to find that Pharah in any capacity, but they're going to have to look up because that Pharah has Barrage. The whole hog coming out, tearing down the Winston. Nano Boost going in onto that Roadhog, but that Mercy standing in the corner means she can be kept safe, not pushed back far enough to prevent the res. Logo has to try to make it to point, can't quite do so. Just like that, the sand will slip through Fairfield's fingers, and University of Hawaii take their third win.
And with that, there it is, the victory for the Southern University of Hawaii. Definitely looking like a completely different team compared to what we saw towards the beginning. We got the chance to look at them on week 1, and we also get to look at them on this last week that we're gonna have. So it was so good seeing how much they changed, the couple changes, a couple players that really made a difference into the compositions. Everyone wanted to play the synergy as well, was just working out so much better, so they get away with the victory tonight.
Absolutely, they get away with the victory, and it was one that, after a very rough season, I would say is well earned. The adaptations, the character and player swaps, even coming through from Hawaii. However, it did look like this team was kind of a team that we saw just fit into one composition. They didn't feel pressured to switch into anything. Maybe as we see them go against teams of higher caliber, that changes in the next season, even as roster changes happen.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of opportunities as well for changes that everyone is dealing with, right? So even the or last interview, the person that we were talking to said that that was the last season, and it's just meant to happen for a lot of players that leave, a lot of players that join those teams, those esports teams, those Overwatch teams more than anything, and it just looks so much better for them.
Really it does. However, we're going to get on the ground interviews with one of the members from University of Hawaii. So folks, stick around. We will be back with our final interview of the semester. Hello and welcome back, everyone. We are here in the interview booth for the final time this year, this semester, and we are sitting here with a member from University of Hawaii, Opahoa. I'm so sorry. You just told me how to say the name, and I'm already dropping the ball here. Either way, congratulations and welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I want to ask, I guess, kind of the elephant in the room. University of Hawaii was really kind of struggling for the first few weeks here within EGF. Within your opinion, what are some of the big changes that we started to see, those big improvements towards those last few weeks?
Right. Well, we've been a lot more creative with our roster lately, bringing in other members of our Overwatch program, and messing around with our lineup, seeing what's working, and that's worked a lot better.
Absolutely. And I want to say there's some times where you guys made a couple mistakes, and it wasn't too many into the entire map, but it was one or two that cost you, for example, in Blizzard World, for either the payload to move, or even on that first one where it could have been back and forth. But nonetheless, it was a lot of dominance. Did you always feel that confident coming into a match like this one?
Definitely not. A few weeks ago, after our fifth or so loss in a row, confidence wasn't at an all-time high, but glad to say that a lot of that has turned around. We're coming into these matches a lot more confident now. We're a lot more sure of ourselves, I think, than we were originally.
Absolutely. And what about the challenges that you have? You said that you brought a couple new players in, but that's still it's not the easiest thing when it comes to synergy and communication. So how do you guys deal with that?
Right. So, like you said, we made a few mistakes. I think a lot of that just comes from, we haven't spent, you know, weeks and months and years all practicing together.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of kinks we're ironing out. But it's just sort of, you know, doing our best with what we got, trying to work on our comp structure. And then also the comp we played for most of today was almost all comfort picks, which I think helps a lot. It allows people to focus a little more so on the teamwork and a little less so on what they're doing, sort of as the players.
Well, it certainly checks out an opportunity to show the composition that you folks feel most comfortable in, and with a pretty decent scoreline, if I do say so myself. I have one more question here for you before we let you go and before I give you the opportunity for any shout outs. What's the plan for University of Hawaii going into next semester, next year, whatever the case may be? We're seeing a lot of teams kind of switch their rosters around.
Yeah. So the University of Hawaii, we have two teams. We sort of have our Z team or our varsity team and our academy team. And up until now, it's been primarily members of our academy team playing. Next semester, just because the varsity team schedule frees up, they're going to be playing in many more of the matches. So some people that you've seen already are going to keep playing, some new people, and we think that the level of the team as a whole is going to go up.
Well, fantastic. I only expect the matches to get better here than coming in from University of Hawaii. Ho'opohoa, thank you for coming in here, answering a few of our questions. And before we let you go, do want to give you the opportunity for any shout outs. So whether it's your friends, family, teammates, whoever, you have the floor.
Well, of course, big shout out to everybody on the team for working hard and working to improve. And I also want to give a shout out to Sky Kawiloa. He's the head of our university's esports department, and he's, pretty much just built the thing out of sheer will and determination. He deserves a lot of respect for that.
All right. Well, I'm sure all of us as gamers can appreciate when somebody puts forth that effort and helps a team all come together. But once again, thank you for coming in here, answering a few of our questions. And if I haven't said it enough, congratulations on your win here today.
Thank you very much.
And with that, Dryad, we are ready to wrap things up for this semester, for this year. All sadness. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing you folks for a month or so, but we will be back ready to bring you all the Overwatch action. We hope to see you then. But until then, take care, stay safe, everybody.